Good morning, class. How are you today? Okay, good to hear that. But before we proceed for our topic for today, can Miss Santos please stand up and lead the prayer? Good morning again, class, and thank you, Miss Santos. But we proceed for our topic discussion for today, please arrange your chairs in a line and let's make an attendance quickly and we so that we can proceed for our topic discussion. In today's lesson, we will tackle about reflexive and intensive pronouns. So the objective for today is to identify the reflexive and intensive pronouns and let's make them in a sentence and but before we proceed of that, let's have a recap of your knowledge in pronouns. So, I have a question. First, are you familiar with pronouns? The second question, can you give the definition of pronouns? My third question, can you cite an example of pronouns and use it in a sentence?
Wow, everyone did a fantastic job! It seems that you are all knowledgeable enough about pronouns. So now, get a 1/4 sheet of paper and answer the short activity to test your knowledge about reflexive and intensive pronouns. So this is just a 5-item quiz where your knowledge about reflexive and intensive pronouns can be applied. Now, shall we start? I'll read the sentences of each number twice and you will identify if the sentence is either reflexive or intensive. Write it all in capital letters, okay? Do you understand? Do you understand, class? Okay, now be attentive and listen carefully as I read. Number 1. Jonathan built the shed in the backyard all by blank. Jonathan built the shed in the backyard all by blank. Number 2. The Robinsons blank showed up uninvited to our house last night. The Robinsons blank showed up uninvited to our house last night. Okay. Number 3. He had to force blank to work out each morning in order to achieve his fitness goals. He had to force blank to work out each morning in order to achieve his fitness goals. Okay. And in number 4, in Matilda, Bruce is forced to eat an entire chocolate cake blank. In Matilda, Bruce is forced to eat an entire chocolate cake blank. Okay. And in last, number 5, she disappointed blank with her actions. She disappointed blank with her actions. Okay, that's the end of the quiz. Are you all done? Can we start exchanging papers right now in class? So it seems that you're all done. Let's exchange your papers with your seatmates, then let's check. Keep your eyes on me, class. As I read a sentence once, give me your answer and let's see if it is correct. Okay, be attentive in class. Now let's check the answer. For number 1, Jonathan built the shed in the backyard all by, yes, correct, himself. And it is an intensive pronoun. Number 2, the Robinsons themselves showed up and invited to our house last night. And it is a intensive pronoun. Did anyone get correct? Okay, let's move on. For number 3, he had to force himself to work out each morning in order to achieve his fitness goals. That is reflexive. Reflexive pronoun. Okay, anyone got correct? Now, for number 4, in Matilda, Bruce is forced to eat an entire chocolate cake himself. And that is, yes, intensive pronoun. Okay, everyone got it correct? That's good. Now, for the last item, number 5, she is disappointed in herself with her actions. And that is our reflexive pronoun. That's right. Now that we all know about the reflexive and the intensive pronoun, we will discuss it more about later, okay? Okay, did everyone get correct all 5 item question? Very good.
Okay, class, may I see all your scores? Okay, as what I've seen, no one get perfect about the quiz, but that was truly a nice try for all of you, class. Let's give a clap for that. Don't worry, class, it's just a test activity to test your knowledge of our lesson for today. So now, so much for the quiz, class. Let's move on and let's stick to our topic for today. Okay, let's talk about intensive and reflexive pronouns. So, okay, class, our topic for today is all about what? Yes, it is all about intensive and reflexive pronouns. Okay, let's start. When we say reflexive pronouns, it tells us that whoever performs the action in a sentence is also the one on the receiving end of that action. When we say reflexive pronoun, in other words, reflexive means reflects. Okay, it reflects back to the subject. It can also be used as a direct object, indirect object, or object of a preposition in a sentence. Okay, now class, I will be giving you some examples of reflexive pronouns. So when we say singular reflexive pronouns, it ends with self, like herself, himself, yourself, myself. Okay, do you get it, class? What is the 4 examples of singular reflexive pronouns? Okay, the first one is myself, yourself, herself, and himself. Okay? And for the plural reflexive pronouns, it ends with selves, like ourselves, yourselves, themselves. Okay, do you get it, class? Now, class, I have here a sample sentence. Let us read this all together and let us all identify who is the subject in the sentence, what is the reflexive pronoun being used, and why is it being used. Okay, are you ready, class? Okay, now let's start. Okay, the sentence is Jim made himself coffee. Jim made himself a coffee. Okay, from that sentence that you have read, who is the subject in your own understanding? Who is the subject in the sentence? Okay, very good, class. Jim is the subject in the sentence. And the second question is, what is the reflexive pronoun that is being used in the sentence? Okay, very good again, class. The word himself. Yes, himself there is served as an indirect object. Moreover, class, without the reflexive pronoun himself, it would be impossible or it would be hard for us as a reader to understand who Jim made coffee for. Yes, you are right that Jim is the subject in a sentence and also he is the doer of the sentence. So that's why the reflexive pronoun being used is the word himself because himself reflects back to Jim wherein Jim is the subject. Okay? Do you get it, class? Are you sure? If you get it, give me thumbs up for us to continue to our next topic, okay? Okay, very good class. Thank you for listening. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. On the other hand, when we say intensive pronoun, it emphasizes a preceding noun which is often but not always wherein the noun immediately before the pronoun. So in other words, intensive pronouns is the same as reflexive pronoun, but always bear this in mind that intensive pronouns are just used for emphasis in a sentence. Okay, class, always bear in mind that intensive pronoun is just the same as reflexive pronoun. It can also be end in self or selves. Okay, now I have also here a sample sentence using the word himself as an intensive pronoun. Okay, the sentence is Jim made coffee for the king himself. Okay, again, Jim made coffee for the king himself. Okay, from the given example, Jim made coffee for the king himself. The intensive pronoun being used there is himself. Okay, wherein himself emphasizes to the word king rather than to Jim. Okay, that's explained about an intensive pronoun. So class, for you to understand more about reflexive and intensive pronoun, let's have a recap or a review using another set of examples for you to comprehend and for you to understand more about the topic, okay? Do you get it, class? Okay, give me thumbs up if you agree with me. Okay, very good, class. And now let's start. Okay, now I have here three examples of reflexive pronouns. So the first example is the boy kicked himself. Okay, the subject there is the boy, and himself there serves as a direct object, and it reflects back to the subject wherein the subject there is the boy. Okay, do you get it, class? Okay, and for the second example is I made myself a sandwich. I made myself a sandwich. Wherein myself there is the reflexive pronoun that is being used, and it refers and it reflects back to the antecedent I. Okay, the word I there is an antecedent. Okay, that's why myself is being used. Okay, and the third one is you should address the letter to yourself. Okay, you should address the letter to yourself. Okay, yourself there is the object of the preposition wherein it refers to the word you. Okay, now do you get it, class? All about reflexive pronoun? Okay, do you get it? Are you sure? Give me thumbs up, and now let's move on to another set of examples of intensive pronouns. I have here two examples of intensive pronoun, wherein the first example of intensive pronoun is I made a sandwich for the president himself. I made a sandwich for the president himself, okay? The intensive pronoun there is the word himself, wherein it emphasizes to the word president, wherein president there serves as an object of the preposition. Okay, now, do you get it, class? Okay, now let's move on to the second example of intensive pronoun. Okay, the second example is my sister herself paid for my popcorn. My sister herself paid for my popcorn. Okay, the intensive pronoun that is being used there is the word herself, wherein it emphasizes to the word sister. Okay, do you get it, class? Okay, notice that if you get the word herself out of the sentence will still make sense. Okay, do you get it, class? Okay, give me thumbs up if you get it. Okay, now class, I am hoping that you understand about our topic, and now always bear this in mind that both reflexive and intensive pronouns end in the suffix self or selves, but reflexive pronouns are objects that reflects back to the subject, while intensive pronouns are just the pronouns that add emphasis to the sentence. Okay? Class, do you get it? I hope you understand about it, class. Okay.
Okay, great job everyone! I am certain that since we are done with our lesson, you guys already have a good understanding of the prior topic we had today. Is it? Okay, so do you have any clarifications? What part of the lesson got you confused? None? Okay, since you don't have any concerns, let's proceed to your assessment. For your assessment, on a 1/2 crosswise sheet of paper, write the correct answers of the following questions. Okay? I will read the question twice, so listen carefully. Okay, number 1. Ready? Okay. Number 1. Can a reflexive pronoun be removed from the sentence and the sentence still makes sense? Yes or no? Explain. Can a reflexive pronoun be removed from a sentence and the sentence still makes sense? Yes or no? Explain. Okay, number 2. Do intensive pronoun and the subject of the sentence ultimately refer to the same noun? Yes or no? Explain. Do intensive pronoun and the subject of the sentence ultimately refer to the same noun? Yes or no? Explain. Okay, number 3. In this sentence, the cat licked itself clean with its sandpaper-like tongue. The cat licked itself clean with its sandpaper-like tongue. Is the word itself a reflexive or intensive pronoun? Is the word itself a reflexive or intensive pronoun? Okay, number 4. In this sentence, she created a business plan and opened a thriving cafe herself. She created a business plan and opened a thriving cafe herself. Is the word herself a reflexive or intensive pronoun? Is the word herself a reflexive or intensive pronoun? Number 5. In this sentence, after our home was destroyed by a tornado, we rebuilt a home ourselves. Number 5. In this sentence, after our home was destroyed by a tornado, we rebuilt a home ourselves. Is the word ourselves a reflexive or intensive pronoun? Is the word ourselves a reflexive or intensive pronoun? Okay.
Alright, are you done, class? Okay, please submit all your papers in front. So, for your assignment, class, choose 5 pronouns and the reflexive and intensive. Give at least 3 examples of each pronoun. Write it on a piece of paper and submit it to the next meeting. Thank you everyone for participating. Let's call it a day. Goodbye, class.